Good evening. I'm Isabella Gauntz, and today I will be talking about mental health within the African American community. This is a dear topic to me because I myself suffer from mental illness, and as do many of my close family and friends. Mental illness is often treated as a bad word, and many people often sweep it under the rug. I completely disagree. I feel like it is necessary and important to spread awareness and resources so one, people know that they are not alone, and two, that they can access the correct help that they need. Specifically, within the African American community, mental illness and suicide rates have been rising at an alarming rate for the past couple of years. It is important that we band together as a community to spread awareness so that we can work together towards finding a solution. Within my research, I found that there are many issues in place for African Americans when trying to access correct mental health treatment that are not in place for other races. Specific issues and recurring issues that I found were obstacles when trying to access treatment, stigma within the African American community, structural racism and its impact, and the continuing legacy of slavery that is still being felt today and will continue to be felt in future generations. Solutions start with spreading knowledge and awareness, reducing stigma within our community, re-educating practitioners, and reworking the delivery model when it comes to giving treatment. To first work towards a solution, it is important to identify the causes. The stigma around mental health within the African American community is one of the most prominent barriers that arise when seeking treatment. Due to the stigma, African Americans often seek informal help. In 2021, we found that 22% of African Americans seek informal mental health care from spiritual leaders, social service organizations, and family members. There is nothing wrong with turning to these institutions and people for help. However, they are not equipped with the right resources and education to deliver proper mental health care to African Americans. African Americans often seek informal mental health care because of the stigma around mental health, and they are reported to have a more negative outlook when it comes to seeking formal treatment. This behavior is associated with untreated illness, lower quality of life, higher mortality rate, a shorter life expectancy, and increased vulnerability for the future onset of mental illness. There are also additional barriers in place for African Americans when it comes to accessing mental health care and receiving effective treatment. Kauai Bogue found in 2017 that additional barriers found when accessing treatment include cost of care, lack of transportation, and child care. And this is only one side of the coin because African Americans also face barriers when it comes to seeking treatment as well. Barriers in place in the way of effective treatment include misdiagnosis, disempowerment in treatment, and a lack of social support and specialty care. And these barriers often add to the stigma found within the African American community in regards to seeking formal treatment. In addition to these barriers, African Americans also face the effects of years of racism and the legacy of slavery. Structural racism shows how society causes Structural racism shows how society causes avoidable and unfair inequities in access to power, resources, capacities, and opportunities for African Americans. For psychotic disorders, this cumulative stress can contribute to more risk factors, enabling these experiences to have effects across the life course and across generations. And this was found in 2022 by Misra. Misra also found in 2022 that the emphasis on clinician bias and misdiagnosis is partly due to the legacy of slavery and institutionalization in the United States. And this is where psychotic diagnosis and antipsychotic medications were used as a means to control and disempower Black people. And this is also what deters African Americans today from seeking the correct treatment. Yelton found in 2022 that it is necessary to recognize and assess the unique social determinants of the mental health that African Americans face, and that this is crucial for effective prevention, diagnosis, and treatment. Although this information can be disheartening, this research is important because it paves the way to finding solutions. And solutions lie in research, re-education, and awareness. Husky found in 2012 that African American students were found more likely to be identified as being at risk than white students and are more likely to access school-based services. The findings support the effectiveness of in-school screening, especially with predominantly African American communities. Kauai Bo found in 2017 that practitioners can improve treatment by increasing their own knowledge of African American values, reducing their own cultural bias, emphasizing linguistic competence, and including how slavery's impact and racial identity can continue to act as a stressor for African Americans within the delivery model. So it is important for practitioners and their therapists to re-educate themselves on all of these issues and rework it into their delivery model when giving help. Yelton also found in 2022 that acknowledging these barriers that African Americans face, that other races do not, will reduce mental health disparities and make an improvement in psychological well-being for everybody. When struggling with mental health, it is easy to self-isolate and feel less than. It is important to make reaching out for help as easy as possible and worthwhile, especially for African Americans. So, again, it is important that we come together as a community to work together to find these solutions and push them out in the community so people know that they are not alone. I would like to end with a quote by Anonymous. Say, Black Lives Matter, Black mental health has to matter too. Thank you.